So here it is, my iPhone 15 Pro Max after 24 hours. And there are some things that I noticed right away with the device that I could talk about, and things that would bug me in the past that I think Apple has done a decent job with this year. But it's going to be a similar conversation. Is this something that you'd get over an iPhone 14 Pro Max if you already have one? No. Is this something that you'd upgrade from an iPhone 13 Pro Max? And again, I think the answer would be no, because you're already taking advantage of ProMotion. You've already taken advantage of that battery glow up that Apple had with the iPhone 13 and iOS 15, where battery life went from being so-so for a flagship device to absolutely positively outstanding for flagship devices. So you're already taking advantage of that. But the regular 3-year upgrade cycle that I think is reasonable for Apple devices, if you have an iPhone 12 Pro Max, this is kind of where you want to be, because you're going to pick up all of those things that we just talked about. And I know people say, well, year over year, there's not a lot of change, and they do so little. It's the same phone every year. Well, there's minor kind of course corrections that they make over time. You know, they change a little bit with the 13. They change a little bit with the 14. They change a little bit with the 15. And if you're way back here at the 12, then by the time you look that far into the future, there are some things that you will notice and will benefit from on something like an iPhone 15 Pro Max. So let's talk about a few of the things that I noticed right off the bat. I love the titanium. I love the look of it. I like this blue a heck of a lot better than I did the Pacific Blue on the iPhone 12 Pro. But the thing you pick up with the titanium is just how light it is. And everybody mentions that, and they do it for a reason, because the Pro Max is an absolute brick, or it was when it was stainless steel. You could throw that thing through a window. It was absolutely massive. So to get this down to a weight that's a little bit more pocketable, it feels a little bit better in the hand, is definitely a step in the right direction. Because you're talking 221 grams for the iPhone Pro Max. So you get that huge display, you get the 6.7-inch display on an Apple device, and it's 221 grams. So by comparison, you're looking at an S23 Ultra at 234. You're looking at last year's 14 Pro Max at 240. 240. I mean, just for some perspective there, a Fold 5, as chunky and heavy as that is only 253. So when you're talking 221, you absolutely feel that in the hand. People are saying, well, yeah, okay, because titanium's lighter, but it's also less durable. And that's true. You could just feel it. And I don't need anybody I don't need a PhD in metallurgy to someone to tell me that this is a softer metal. You could pick it up and feel it. It just feels like a softer metal in the hand. So protect it. Don't drop it like you saw those videos 14 times from 20 feet in the air. Don't do those things. Do what you'd normally do with a $1,200 phone. Put a case on it. Put a screen protector on. Do these things that you need to do, and it's still going to be lighter than your 14 Pro Max, because you were doing that for that stuff anyway. So it's not like any real difference. One of the things I noticed is Wi-Fi is significantly better this year. This is something I don't hear talked about a lot, but my Wi-Fi connection, Apple has some really wonky Wi-Fi. They have for the last 10 years, where it's not that it's disconnected, and it's not that it's slow. It just feels like sometimes it's not paying attention, where it's like, hey, I'd like some Wi-Fi signal here. So there, on the 15 Pro Max, I have not felt that at all. Wi-Fi has been strong, it's been reliable, and it's been snappy, which is really what's been missing for the past few years. So I don't know if they altered the modems at all. I don't know what they did. But Wi-Fi, if you've had problems in the past with Apple Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi is significantly better on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. That's something I noticed right off the bat. The other thing that was an improvement over last year, battery life is back on the iPhone models. I have had outstanding battery life right out of the box on my 15 Pro Max. And we're sitting at 45 minutes of screen on time today, and I'm still at 98%. That's what I get this for. That's why you get the Pro Max model. That's why you switch over, if you do switch over to an iPhone, because you want some of that outstanding battery life that you've heard about for the past 3 years now. Or two, and now moving into 3. It's excellent. And last year's 14 Pro Max wasn't excellent right out of the gate. You had all those problems with battery drain. You had the growing pains with iOS 16. All kinds of things that always on display, which turn off. Okay? Just turn it off. I don't know what. Apple's able to, the engineers are able to see pictures of other people doing always on displays, but just for some reason, this is all they give us. That's just one option. You can turn it on and show wallpaper, show notifications. You can turn off the show wallpaper, which they added later in iOS 16, which helps a little bit with the battery life. But in my money, just turn it off. It did something with battery life last year. It's not that good of an always on display. There's not the customizability that you'd want like you'd get on an Android. I just turn it off and be done with it and enjoy the extra battery that I get on my device. So that's something. So I'm glad to see that on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, we're not having the headaches with battery life and the drain and all the rest of it right off the bat that we did last year. A lot of people complain about overheating with this. Yes, sort of. Only at the beginning. When I was doing the initial update from iOS 17 to 17.0.2, I think it was, that we'll talk about in a moment, I did notice when it was doing its thing, downloading a lot, that it did get on the hotter side, more so than I've noticed on iPhones in the past, but they all got warm. All right? And so when you're talking updates and apps and stuff like that, I dismiss that. Any phone, even Pixels, where people complain about overheating, I give the Pixel a couple days. When you're downloading stuff, when you're updating stuff, when it's doing its background, whatever, there's always going to be that element of overheating. Call me in a couple weeks, and we'll revisit that if it's really throttling performance and all the rest of it. So that's a wait and see type of thing. iOS 17 is better. I'm not getting those hiccups and those glitches that I had in the Mail app and certain things that I had going on. So I'm not getting a lot of the headaches that I was getting in iOS 16 right off the bat, which I like to see. So they've cleaned it up, and they needed to. You can't have two duds in a row. You can't have a situation where, yeah, okay, we fumbled a little bit on the iPhone 14 and iOS 16. You had to make sure you get it right, because that's how people start to lose confidence in this kind of Apple reliability or the it just works. Well, if you fumble a couple times in a row, the it just works just kind of starts to go out the window. And then if people start asking other questions about Apple because reliability and support go out the window, they're going to be asking questions Apple doesn't want to answer. Well, why don't you have some of the features that Android has? Right now, they get away with that, in my mind, because of the extras, because of the support, because of the other things. But if that goes away, then you become on the level playing field with the other manufacturers, and that gets dangerous for Apple in a hurry. So I'm glad to see that iOS 17 is better. Now, you did have that glitch. If you buy one of these, link will be in the description. It does help out the channel. If you buy one of these, update. When it asks you to update iOS, if you want to update it right when you start it, do it. Because you're not going to be able to transfer stuff over. That was that weird bug yesterday where iOS 17, just as it shipped, wasn't able to transfer data between iPhones. But if you do the update right out of the box, that's not a problem. But I was so worried about the stupid eSIM stuff, which is dumb. That's not, get rid of that. It's stupid. I don't know who it benefits. It's dumb. I don't use it. I want rid of it. What are you saving here for the SIM tray? Get rid of it. It was a mess yesterday with AT&T trying to set up eSIM. But I was so worried about that, I said, you know what, I'll update when I can update. And I didn't do it, and I wound up not being able to transfer all my stuff over. So if you're if you're looking to transfer from iPhone to iPhone, from a 14 to a 15 or wherever generation you're coming from, do the update on this device first. It will save you a lot of heartache. Any questions, let me know. We're going to do the long-term stuff. Obviously, we haven't even scratched the surface of the camera stuff and all the other stuff with the A17 Bionic and all the other enhancements that they've made here. But that's my first. Those are the things that hit me in the face. As a long time, 16-year iPhone user, those are the things that hit me in the face in the first 24 hours. So if those are ones that you were worried about, don't have to be worried anymore. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.